You see, in the middle of the earth, in the middle underground of the earth, contain iron. Understand? So if you see
Is
the Quran, the chapter 57 is the half, the middle of the Quran, and the name is iron, the chapter iron, the Hadid. So there is also miracle scientific inside the Quran about the Big
but
Bang
the middle of
theory.
the earth is not iron. The core of the earth contains molten iron besides many other things. It's
Yeah,
not the
yeah, yeah.
middle.
So no,
The
not
core is
not
not the
majority.
middle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there is some things if, that make my faith more sure is about the miracle scientific that only God know it, and right now with technology we're discovering what God told us.
So, okay, we
If
will get
I
to that. But you said a mathematical miracle. Please name me an example.
Yeah, like there is, but I read it is in the book, but I don't have exactly what he said.
Well, I'm
may
pretty
I
sure it's easy to find. If it's a mathematical miracle, math is a big field. I'm pretty sure it's easy to find. So if you can just look it up and share it with us, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I will
may
try
I
to find out.
interject? May I interject? Different claims have been made about different holy books. Even the Bible, there was a Russian-born mathematician, Ivan Panin, and apparently he discovered divine numerical patterns in the Bible. And he actually became a believer because of it. I think he studied it for 50 years. Now, I haven't read into it in depth, but my point is different claims can be made about
Mm,
different holy books. And could it be possible that different holy books contain maybe not the entire truth, but part of it?
yeah, yeah, they can contain part of it. That's true.
Mm.
Um. Okay, I think Omar
So
had something to say.
when I see scientific miracle, do you know about the scientific miracle written in the an example?
Which scientific miracle? And before you go on to that, did you find anything about the mathematical miracle you mentioned earlier?
I'd be curious to even know what a mathematical miracle is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Are we talking like about some numerical pattern, consistency, some structural thing? What are you talking about? What is a mathematical miracle? Is the quadratic formula in the Quran? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, MMS. I think Quran is you know, it has science, not science. SIGNS, not SCIENCE. Science.
Sorry. What did you say? SI. Sorry. Can you spell that again?
I'm saying Quran is
Oh,
science.
signs. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Quran is science is a science, not science.
Okay.
Because there are hints of it for sure, but I don't think it's not a book about how you know equal MC works.
Sure.
Well, we
Sure.
were still waiting for the mathematical miracle.
No, and it's not like a very miracle. Like there is something not written by chance, but everything. Example, let me give you an example of example. The word land. Okay, the word land appear like 13 times, and the word sea appear 32. So on 45, like when you do your proportion, is the same proportion of the sea and the land on the earth. You see what I mean? The percentage between the word font and the proportion on the word font on all the word font to know the proportion of the earth and the land on the
So
earth.
what you're saying is the word land appears 13 times. Now, are you talking about one singular word with the sole meaning land? Or are there multiple other words that also. Oh, he left. Yeah, of course.
Um. it seems to me like you could just like that doesn't seem like a very interesting miracle to me because like you could just go through and find a word. Oh, he left.
Yeah, that's selective counting. I mean, Arabic is a very vernacularly rich language. There are, hundreds of thousands of different variants that mean the same or different things. So if you just selectively count this and discount that, you can come up with any pattern you want. And he said 13 and 45. That's even wrong. I mean, the ocean is like 70% of the Earth's surface. Now, what is he talking about?
But if we're going to use this kind of thing as an argument, I think it's more interesting that apparently it might happen in the Bible due to the fact that there are different authors. So I'm not stating that this proves this or that, but it's interesting that books that came from different authors, let's put it that way, the conclusion was that it came from the same source because in the different books from different authors, the same divine or allegedly divine numerical patterns were found. So I think it's more impressive than with the Quran that comes from only one person. Just saying.
All right.
And actually, that guy from from Russia, he just found out that I'm just reading the Wikipedia article, and that I don't understand much, but they say that so until his death, so Ivan Panin labored continuously on searching for numerical patterns in the Hebrew language of the Old Testament and the Greek language of the New Testament, often to the detriment of his health. The most well-known pattern is that Genesis 1:1 is made of 7 words of 28 letters, and 28 is 4 multiplied 7. But he found many more patterns of sevens. He declared that if these patterns were implemented intentionally by the writers, the collaboration of all writers of the Bible, stretched over the many desperate years, would be required in addition to the
Now, here is the question. Does he explain his methodology? Because if he doesn't, everything that he says is absolutely meaningless. If you approach each part differently, then there is no way to what you say. It loses all credence.
Oh, you're talking about Ivan Panin, the Russian guy?
So like
yeah.
So here we go. So I'm looking at your screen here that you're sharing, and it says Genesis is made of 7 words of 28 letters, and 28 is 4 times 7. He found many patterns of 7. Like you could do that just by dividing by 7 and finding sevens. Like I don't. That doesn't seem very.
Yeah, I think this is just one small again, I didn't read in depth into it. I know he studied it for 50 years, so I'm pretty sure that he analyzed a lot more than that. The point is he's talked about to this day. I'm actually curious to look more into that. And
Sure.
I'm not negating that, there are truths in the Quran. Like I'm actually more these days I'm on this journey to kind of try to understand there has to be truth in different religions somehow. Otherwise, it would make no sense to me, right? And that's why I was careful to say that I believe there are truths in different holy books, the Quran, the Torah, the Bible, and yeah.
So you say there has to be truth in a religion? Why?
No, not there has to be. Okay, so.
No, I'm just asking.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is this. So I do believe in God. All right. I was brought up in a specific religion, namely, okay, I know it's going to come next, but I'll say it, Roman Catholicism, right?
Okay.
But I question a lot, namely things that everyone knows, that there was the Council of Nicaea, where it was decided which books should stay, which books should go. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if changes had been made to the so-called Word of God in order to better control the masses. This makes sense to me because, even if the word was passed on from God, would it be so surprising that men due to wanting more power and to be more able to control the population, maybe made certain changes. I mean, I think that after Constantine sort of took over, right, and the church became associated with the Roman Empire, it was all downhill from there, you know.
Downhill for
Um,
who?
well, downhill from the point of, I believe that that is what might have, it's where it all started, I guess, the using religion to control the masses. I mean, even the Pope,
Or
if I'm not
organized
mistaken.
religion, you mean?
Yeah, okay, like we can put it that way, but you get my point. Even the first Pope, so they decided for Peter, but if you look into it, apparently it was like a strategic decision because he was closer to
Mhm.
Rome, you know, things like that. There are a lot of little details. So anyway.
And what does this has to do with what you said earlier about a truth and like there may be a truth
Oh,
in each religion?
okay,
How do
very
these
good.
two things
Yes.
relate?
Okay, this might seem naive of me, right? But this is how I've been trying to come to terms with this. So I believe in God. I believe that for whatever reason, he might have allowed for certain things to happen, but also it would make sense to me that he would make sure that the essence of his message was in said holy books. Now,
Which
that,
is
which
So
is, okay,
the
I'll point out a few. Um, to be loving, to treat others as you would like them to treat you, to be forgiving. What? Why are you laughing?
go continue.
To treat others as you would like them to treat you, and also service to others. Service to others, as
okay,
opposed to service to self.
okay. So how do you know that God is like that?
I don't know. I
Okay,
don't know anything, you know?
sure. Okay,
Um,
so if you don't know that, then how do you know
mhm.
that's what God commands us to do?
Hello, Steve.
Okay. Um, I think I've spoken with you before, correct? Am I wrong?
Maybe. You know what?
Okay, doesn't matter.
I think actually I do think we have spoken on
Yes,
Philo Sober's one of Philo Sober's.
exactly, exactly. So you're the American guy that I spoke with. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, but it doesn't matter. So, and the reason I asked is that it just clicked. And at the time I said something like, yes, I don't know. It's just something I feel in my heart. And this is like a journey I'm on. And it makes sense to me that if we do sincerely search within ourselves, um, we will somehow, at least bit by bit, find bits of truth.
But why is it
So,
that people that have sincerely searched?
oh, look, it's Alexis. Alexis
Um,
is an atheist, everyone. Ding, ding, ding. I'm
Which one is
kidding.
No, wait a minute. I never said I was an atheist.
I
I don't
know
know what.
you're not. You're agnostic. I'm teasing you.
But what
Okay,
I'm saying
Alexis?
is people that have searched sincerely come to different conclusions. I don't think it's about not being sincere. I don't think it's about that.
Well, this is what I believe, right?
I know many people that have
Again, and I'm not
sincerely.
trying to convince other people to believe the same thing. What I believe is this: somehow we do all have, let's call it, a divine spark inside of us.
Oh,
Okay?
mine is.
That's
And
very vague.
yeah, it is,
Mine
maybe.
was put out a long
But
time ago, I guess.
but I do believe that we have a divine spark inside of us that, for whatever reason, is something we're not completely aware of right now.
Mhm.
Why? I don't know. Does this sound naive?
Mm.
Yes. But
Okay.
I believe that. And I believe that if we, I don't know if it's through meditation, if it's through just profound thinking in a certain kind of atmosphere, I don't know. But
You
I
feel the
think
spark.
that if we, no, not that. I can't. I wish,
I feel
Alexis.
a burning sensation in my stomach in the morning
I
sometimes.
wish, Alexis, but I do think
Take some heartburn medication.
if we make a sincere attempt to read and to find information,
Been
and
there,
sometimes
done that.
and when
Didn't work.
things and sometimes things just resonate. I don't know why.
So
And
Well,
I like to believe that has to do with our inner spark somehow.
So
I don't know.
what you just said is interesting to me. So you said somehow you just feel like this is the truth when you investigate it. Is that kind of what you said?
In
What
a
is this
sense,
exactly?
yes.
Okay. How would you tell, like, it seems to me like people could have feelings that different things that can't both be true. Like different people might
Yeah.
have those feelings that this thing is true, and someone else might have this feeling that this other thing, that where they both can't be true, but the other person does have a feeling that is true. So like how would you tell which of those is true if either of them are?
I don't know. That's the thing. I know how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like, I'm not going to tell someone else, oh, you're wrong and I'm right. I'm just going to try and follow my path the best way I can. It's not my job, quote unquote, to convince anyone of this, or, and I think
No,
we
but,
all
but
need
but
to make our own journey.
but Anna, why would you rely on a method that lead different people to different results?
I don't even have a valid method. And
You're saying, I
wait, let
believe.
me just say this really quickly. Do you remember Phantom X? I
Yeah, I
actually
remember you
told you
didn't.
about the Ouija board, and you're like, so your methodology is a Ouija board? Of course not. I have absolutely no method.
Yeah,
I
I
just try
remember you
my
didn't like.
best, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I mentioned a couple of experiences that I guess sort of added to it, but of course, in no way, shape, or form is it a methodology.
Don't you
Okay,
think
so
that God Almighty is a terrible communicator? He wanted to send a message, and just everybody's so confused. People again arrive to different conclusions. So I feel like if he wanted us to know him, he's doing a terrible job. Um,
well, okay. So again, I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just explaining how I see it. That's all. Okay, just to be
okay,
clear. And
okay.
again, I'm on this journey. I've been down
I already
many a
went
ra-
there. I can
I've
save
been
you a lot
down
of time.
I've
Yeah.
been down many a rabbit hole, but yet I have not been deterred from the this possibility, or I have not been dissuaded from believing in God,
What would it
right?
take for you? What would it take for you to say, "That's it. There's no God"?
Or at least say maybe there's no God.
Probably not. Yeah, there's most
I
likely
don't know
there's.
why, but I don't think I'd ever say that.
You said you were brought up as a Roman Catholic. Are you still
Yes,
a follower of the Roman Catholic Church?
I'll answer your question. So I am a follower. I still go to church, but as I usually say, I think I'm a very bad example of a Christian because I have contemplated
Sinner.
the possibility of reincarnation, for example, which is a big no-no in Christianity. Okay? So like I said, I am still Roman Catholic, go to church. I was married in the Roman Catholic Church, but yes, I am definitely not a good example of a
So you
Christian.
believe in the Catholic God and the God of the Roman
No,
Catholic
see,
Church?
no, that I would not say. You see, that's
Hmm.
the
Huh.
thing. That's the problem, I think, is that people are bent over associating God with a specific religion and what a specific religion says. And I know this is horrible of me to
So
say, having been brought up Roman
But
Catholic,
that's a very
but it,
interesting dichotomy, though. You adhere. You say you adhere to a certain denomination,
yeah,
but you dissociate yourself from the God that that denomination associates itself with.
yeah, I was going to ask the same thing.
not,
You
I don't,
actually appealed to the scriptures just a few minutes ago. You said God is trying to, sending through different religions, but now you're kind of
yeah, but what
want to.
I'm trying to say is maybe there isn't just truth in the Bible, but also truth in other holy books. That's what I was trying to say.
Ah,
Okay.
But
well, that sounds overly quixotic. It's like if there is a statement in one holy book and it resonates with me, then it may be true. If it
Okay,
doesn't,
yeah.
then it's not.
You're talking about cherry picking. I get it. Okay? But that's not what I try to do. Again, I don't know it. I have a lot more questions than answers. In fact, I have very few answers. So this is just me just trying to make sense of it, right? And how could a God allow for example, millions of people to follow what? So assuming that there's only one correct religion, and pardon me, the rest of the religions, I'm just going to mention Christianity and Islam, which I think are the top two, if I'm not mistaken. So if only one is right and the other is wrong, how could God allow for literally millions of people to be led on the wrong path? See, this makes no sense to me.
Isn't that
So
kind of how God does things, though?
why do you say that? I can see that you're rather
I mean,
I
as
don't know.
Alexis pointed out earlier, he's a pretty bad communicator, so it seems that he wants conflict to persist.
Yeah.
And I get your point. I get your point. And then we could come up with all sorts of explanations, like it's God's plan, and
No,
we're
God doesn't
supposed to.
exist.
You see, and I don't even want to go there, right? The thing is, for whatever reason, I can't explain it. I do believe, if you don't want to call it God, call it a divine entity, right? That,
And don't you think it's a
oh my gosh, it just started raining so hard here. Go ahead.
And I don't see the point of the search. I just don't think it's you talked about honesty, and yet you're
Yeah.
saying you don't think you're going to get to a point where you would say God does not
No,
exist.
I've
It's not an on.
I understand. So yeah, I get your point, but for some reason I don't feel that's going to happen. For me, it's about somehow trying to make sense of God's intent, of my purpose, of my role here, right? Beyond the basic stuff, which is to be a good human being, you know? Um, but somehow I don't think it's going to happen. So for me, it's about trying to understand how he could allow so much chaos to exist in the world, for example. There's just too much of it. And of course, the common examples, allowing babies to get cancer, things like that, right? It's very complicated. And I've even gotten into, other realms like spirituality and Gnosticism. That's another thing. I didn't get to talk about that the other day. And I think that Gnosticism is interesting because, like, when I got into the reincarnation thing, it was kind of like, yeah, this sort of makes sense. I mean, if I believe I have a soul, and maybe we need to live, I don't know how many hundred or thousand lives in order for our soul to somehow progress, right? But according to Gnosticism, I don't know if you guys want to hear about this, but it's actually a trap, the reincarnation thing, right? And it's kind of crazy. So yeah.
So if you have all these questions and you can't find answers, what makes you so sure that there are answers?
Hello?
Hello?
What makes me so sure that there are answers? I guess I can't say that I'm sure there are answers.
I just don't see the point of your search because you are you're
Well,
ruling
you
out
know
a
what, Alexis? You know what, Alexis? You don't have to see the point of my quest because it is my quest. So
Well, just to add one thing, it sounds, in my eyes, it looks futile, not because of anything on your part, but the way you stated, like the reasoning behind all of it, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. An answer can be anything.
I'm aware of that, but I do believe that the further I try to understand, perhaps, maybe I'll get somewhere. So far, this is where I'm at.
I
Very
mean,
simple.
it
Hold
seems
on. Let me just
very.
say this. This is something that interests me, and I'd rather, for example, maybe sometimes spend time looking into those kinds of things than, say, watching a movie, though I do watch movies, right? Now, that said, for now, I'm fine with the fact that there are a lot of things I don't know. like I said, I do believe in God. I do believe I have a soul, but for now, I'm fine. Just trying to understand things better and just being, I guess,
Mm.
the best possible human being that I could be. Now, could I be the best possible human being that I could be, even if I say were an atheist? Maybe. I don't know. But like I said, this is my journey. So
That's I mean, that's like saying Y is going to happen because of X. It's so vague. It doesn't really mean anything.
well,
Yeah.
that's fine. I'm not trying to come here and prove anything whatsoever. I'm
Oh,
just
no, nobody is asking you to
explaining.
prove anything.
I'm
It's
just
just the meaning.
explaining. I'm just explaining, I guess, the journey, the quest, whatever you want to call it, that I'm on, right? And of course, there aren't answers. If there were, there wouldn't be so many debates about the existence of
Well,
God.
usually that could be taken either way. I could say the reason there's so many debates is because there's no real answers. But that's besides the point. I mean, usually when somebody goes on a quest, they have a
Yeah.
destination in mind. What's your
It,
destination?
I just feel like it's almost as if you were looking for Lincoln's treasure in the White House. I don't know if you know the
Ah.
but hold on. But and I'm telling you, hey, what if there's no such thing as Lincoln treasure? And you're saying no, I feel there is, and I'll keep searching no matter what. And if it turns out that there isn't such thing, you're as what's her name? Backer says, it's a futile attempt to find something that it may not exist. So
Well,
it
for
might
me,
be
it
a
was not.
never ending. It might be a
It
never
might. It
ending
might.
search.
It might. But for me, that's fine.
So
That
you're
is fine.
fine looking for something that may not exist,
Yes, I'm fine.
devoting so much time and energy into it
Yes.
that might be wasted.
As fine as people are devoting hours and hours and hours of their life playing computer games.
And
So
you know
what's the point?
that's
What's the
actually
point?
treated by
So-
psychologists.
Okay.
It's an
And-
addiction.
So,
And if I remember correctly, you said you would be able to recognize it based on the feeling you get from it. That's what you think, or that's your
for me personally, yes. Now you could tell me, oh, that's paranoia. That's paranoid delusions.
I don't think
know.
it's I wouldn't call it paranoid.
You know what I
delusion,
mean?
But yeah.
But yes,
So-
there is, and those little stories that I told that I'm not going to repeat. They're just small parts of certain experiences I've been through that just make me feel like, yes, there is something else. It doesn't prove there is something else,
Sure.
right? But again, this is my personal journey.
So it's
Right.
mostly feelings.
But so my question is like, even if I don't, I mean, I'm happy for you to pursue the whatever activities you enjoy, and if you pursue studying religions and looking for truth in them, I'm happy for you to continue doing that. It just seems to me though that it would be good to go ahead and set up like some more like criteria that is more reliable, because we've already discussed that like feelings can lead to contradictory results because two people may feel different things about
Agree.
the
But
same
it
truth.
doesn't even make sense for you to say that, given the present topic, which is regarding the existence of a transcendental divine entity and transcendental things. So I guess you're trying, and that's the thing, you're trying to sort of use the scientific method for things that aren't measurable.
Well,
Correct?
it's not necessarily
You see?
about the conclusion itself. It's more about the premises and how they were sequenced and how you led yourself to that conclusion. Yeah, nobody is saying go and
Well, again, I
try.
didn't say I had a specific methodology, even. I didn't claim that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, which is why it might be a good idea to have one, because otherwise you could look at the same things twice in a day and have two completely different ideas about it.
No, that won't happen.
So how do you
So-
expect to find
The fact that I
truth?
don't have a methodology doesn't mean that when I read things that I don't try to read them with, how should I put this, a certain understanding. My only point is, whatever conclusions I've reached, I would never impose them on anyone else
Sure.
But we're
because
not.
they're, you know what I
So
mean?
You
So
keep
I'm certainly
emphasizing
not here.
that. We,
So-
we get that.
Yeah.
You keep emphasizing that, and we understand that. But which I just don't get it, and I think everybody here is wondering the same thing.
But what
are
don't
you-
you get exactly?
I have a question about feelings. So let's say someone comes along and they say, I want you to invest in my company because and they give this big long sales pitch and they guarantee that you are going to get a 10% or a 10 times return on your money. And
Mm.
would you use feelings for that?
That's not about feelings
So what is
at
it
all.
about? How do
It's
you
that's the
expect?
thing.
How do you expect
No.
to find the truth? That is the question for me. Is since you don't
Okay,
have a
this is
methodology,
look, I don't
what
know
is
how
the
to put
way
it.
through which you're going to find the truth? Is it going to
That
come to you
exactly.
automatically?
Wouldn't it be sort of valid, I suppose, to consider this possibility? So we are indeed talking about something very transcendental, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
for whatever reason, and Gnosticism sort of touches on that in an interesting way, but for whatever reason, we're not equipped to experience everything, simply put, right? So for
Well,
some reason, yeah, go ahead.
that's again, that's like a self-canceling proposition. For your purposes, at least, we're not equipped to experience everything. If you claim that that statement is true, then the purpose you're using it for is null, invalid.
No, it isn't. No, it
It
isn't.
is because
No, it
nobody
isn't.
has a way of
You didn't even let me
knowing.
finish. You
Nobody
didn't
has
even
a
let
way
me.
of knowing of what
Well,
we're.
how about you letting me finish
Okay,
Ooh,
finish.
finish
ooh.
making my
Oh my
point,
God.
right?
Oh.
So all I'm saying is this. So apparently, right, according to all these different religions, and there are, so we could possibly, let me put it that way, somehow be living on a plane, a dimension that we're aware of, right? But possibly there are other dimensions that for whatever reason we're not equipped to perceive.
What religion
That's what,
says that?
right? Look, I'm just talking about the realm of spirituality, how
If we're-
allegedly there are I don't know if you want to call it demons or bad energies, if you want to call it angels
Well,
or good energies, that
ap-
they're around us and that they influence us. Basically, all the holy books somehow say that, right?
But if
So
apparently,
there exists allegedly some other plane or dimension that we're not aware of. Some would even say that we're living some sort of spiritual war between light and darkness, right? And that's why the world is in such chaos,
but that's
because darkness is
another.
in charge. You
That's
see, no,
another.
but the
That's an.
religious explanation is that it's evil forces at work,
Well,
correct?
that's
So
another self-refuting statement. Oh,
why self-refuting?
they
Why
interact with us.
self-refuting?
That you
Yeah,
before you made the claim that
but
they are on a
wait,
different.
why is it
Yeah,
self-refuting?
give
I
me a
don't
second. You
understand.
made the claim that they are on a different dimension and that we're not
I said
equipped.
possibly. I
Okay,
said possibly.
possibly on a different dimension,
Okay.
and that
Yeah.
we're not equipped to detect them, yet they interact with and influence us. How could
Exactly.
that be? How could these two things be true at the same time?
Why not? Could you
If
not be influenced?
You're
Hold on.
you're
Again,
you're
I'm not.
you're not being aware of your contradiction, Anna. I mean, if
No, there is no contradiction. I'm sorry.
there is,
What is?
No, actually, when
you
How is?
literally
How
say,
is?
Well,
Oh my
Rose,
gosh.
Anna, you're
Okay,
saying
when
we
I
have
say we're
access.
not equipped to perceive them, it's in the sense like to see them,
Okay,
to see
so
them,
if they
and
interact,
realize how
if
they.
they, by definition, if they interact with us, it means there is a way for us to perceive them somehow. So we are
correct.
in the
Goodness
capacity.
gracious, but
Hey,
not
hey,
consciously. I don't see where the problem is in that.
No, but that's not the definition of it. Okay,
We're not
but then
consciously
your
aware.
statement should have been, instead of not being equipped to interact with them, should be not being equipped to consciously interact with them. But that's not what you said.
No, but you're just nitpicking, for frick's
No,
sake.
I mean,
no,
she,
there's a
she
And
difference
by
between
the way,
to
oh
be
my gosh,
between
okay.
hey,
Okay,
to
I
be
should have said we're not equipped to be consciously aware of them. Are you
right,
happy?
because there's a difference between saying there's no way for us
Okay,
to
are you
ever
happy?
have
Are
access
you
to it.
happy? Now you can move on from that.
Yes, I'm happy.
Gosh.
Thank you.
Okay.
so
Just
I
you
mean,
have to be precise.
I mean, to be fair to Anna, she has said all along that her truth measurement is feelings, which is a subconscious thing. So, like she has said all along, it's not a conscious thing that you can
But
do.
that's
Well,
another thing that I didn't even want to get into because I'm on that path too. You
But
see,
Anna,
because
isn't
can I respond to Phantom Mix,
yeah.
please,
Sorry, we
very
haven't given you a
quickly?
chance to say much.
So,
Go ahead.
but I'm responding to Phantom Mix. You're right. I have been talking a lot, and I'll shut up. But regarding the subconscious thing, I think that is the thing. Okay. And okay, this is going to sound crazy. People are going to say, oh, Anne is talking about all this crazy stuff. But from what this path I've been on, it does make sense that that's what we need to do, even though we're not. I mean,
do
unless
what?
hold on, even though we're not equipped to perceive certain things. I mean, without working on it, um, if I don't know, maybe there are ways to do that. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Ways to
And
access
so
the subconscious.
in some, yes, and I've been
Okay.
reading about Carl Jung, and I find that very interesting.
Is that what
The
it seems?
All the
scammers.
talk about the shadow.
That's what it
Yes.
seems like you're doing, Anna. You're trying to reach into that subconscious mind and retrieve that information from that transcendental reality. So at the end of the day, if you manage to do that, it means that those transcendental entities at the end of the day did interact with us. And your first statement is false.
What first statement?
The one that says that we're not equipped to even at the
To consciously, again, to consciously interact. What do you
Anna,
want
you're
about?
you're saying that you're trying to reach.
You know, I give
your-
up. I give up.
You're
I'm
trying to
sorry.
reach into your
This is
subconscious mind.
Just let him
You're,
finish.
you're trying to understand. You're trying to reach into your subconscious mind to have access to that information. Correct? So the subconscious information becomes conscious at the end of the day.
You're consciously reaching
Yes.
towards the subconscious, which means you're consciously aware.
Exactly. Exactly. So at the end of the day, you will consciously interact with them.
Okay, again, I'm going to rephrase. It's something that we won't like normally do unless we go on this apparently very complicated journey because it's not an easy thing to
What
do.
is
What
normally
okay.
and what is this journey? Everything is so vague.
Okay, you know what? I never said I had all the answers. I'm just interested in
That's
reading
the
about
thing,
this.
though. I'm not asking you for answers that you need external knowledge to, give. I'm asking you about
It's just that
you.
something tells me that if I search whatever, however you want to put it, within myself, within my subconscious, call it subconscious, call it accessing your divine spark somehow. I don't know. But that's the path I'm on. You guys might think it's ridiculous or that it doesn't make sense, and I'm fine with that. Now you can move on to someone else. Seriously,
No,
I'm done talking. I am.
Nobody is saying it's ridiculous, but this is like me saying I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna see something. I might see 10 million different things. Who knows? If you're not actively looking for something, it's like a fool's errand.
Yeah, it's we're just trying. I mean, I'm just trying to understand. That's it. I want to understand your worldview. There are some apparent contradictions, and we're just trying to clarify those things. But that's it. But since you don't want to continue, that's understandable. And I think we have, well, made her an atheist.
I'm sorry, I muted myself by accident. Contradictions according to you, and
You're
that's
supposed to
fine.
make it.
I will continue on my journey, and it is my personal journey. So you guys can do whatever you want. Do what makes you happy.
Can we come with you? That's at the end of the day what we want is to. I think everybody here wants to know the truth, or at some point we wanted to understand these things. We asked ourselves the big questions in life. I would like to know if there's anything out there, and you know that I'm an agnostic. I'm not denying the existence of a transcendental reality. I'm not in a position to do that. But to believe in specific gods, and the minute you start coming up with specific features and characteristics about this transcendental reality, the burden of proof becomes heavier, because those are
Yeah, but I
specific
don't,
things.
like I said, I don't feel the need to prove that, especially because I don't have proof.
Well,
But just for the record, if I say might say very quickly, so this journey to, let's call it, reaching a higher consciousness or whatever, or your true inner self, the thing that's leaving me sort of, well, not disappointed, but because typically when people talk about that, it's, it's a thing these days, this higher consciousness, we're all part of this, of the one, etc. And they
mhm.
make it sound like it's going to be lovely, you're going to reach peace and all this. And when I was reading Carl Jung, and apparently he went on this journey his whole life, um his family actually thought he had gone crazy for like 6 years, I think.
I can see
And the
why.
thing is, I'm gonna wring your neck, Alexis. But anyway, the point is, so he apparently pursued this, right? And it's very, I got mixed feelings about it, but at the same time it made sense. So it was something like, and guys, I know I'm all over the place because I've been reading a lot of stuff. Again, I do this intentionally to kind of try to find commonalities and things that make sense between one theory and the other. So it interested me that he actually went on this journey. But what sort of, I guess, made me not mixed feelings, it's more like, wow, I didn't expect this. Basically, what he said was this: it's a very difficult journey, because when you try to reach that higher level of consciousness, your ego is going to fight back, and you will be constantly fighting, let's call them demons, but in this case he called it ego. So basically, in a nutshell, what he said is, you can't just, you know, go into this, um, get into this idea where you're going to reach a higher level of consciousness. You're going to shut out all the bad, all the darkness, and you're going to be fine. It's not like that, because the darkness is always going to be there. So basically, what he said is, you need to face that darkness, but really face it. And he spoke about horrible things that he saw, that he experienced, etc. And you need to somehow integrate that darkness, because in order to be whole, you need both. You
Says
see,
who?
according to Carl Jung, I'm not saying he's right, okay, Baker? According to Carl Jung,
What
right?
was his conclusion in the end?
His conclusion
Literally
is,
none.
his conclusion was that indeed you should do that journey, but be aware of its pitfalls. And this is why apparently there are a lot of people who do this journey and then they end up, for example, a lot of them aren't even able to live quote unquote ordinary life, right? You need to be prepared for that. So basically, it's about balance. So as you progress in that journey, you need to be able to continue coping with normal, ordinary, everyday life. As far as the darkness is concerned, you can't shut it down. You need to somehow face it and integrate it. Now, how to put that into practice, I can't tell you. I didn't read everything he said,
Hmm.
okay? But
Hmm.
I did find it interesting, to be
Hmm.
honest. He actually said that it was indeed a journey, not a destination, spiritual awakening and the spiritual
Gave a
path
bumping sticker.
and all
Yeah,
that.
it's like you're going on a journey in the jungle with no map, no compass, no anything, and
And You're
You
on
know what?
Molly.
I will tell you again. I think it beats not believing in anything. I really do.
You
I'd
believe
rather go on this journey, even make mistakes, maybe, I don't know, than just like, I don't know. I don't think I believe that. But that, you do your thing, I'll do mine.
How much do all of you want to bet that when Carl Jung was quote unquote doing his work, he was high the entire time?
You
Uh,
can bet all you can bet all you
how
want.
about Anna right now?
No, I've never even tried pot, okay?
I'm not talking about pots. I'm like crack or meth.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, so something
Well, if I say I
stronger.
haven't even tried pot, do you think I'd try anything else? For freak's sake.
Hmm.
You know,
That
I'd
was
go,
that was that
no,
was
you know
Mr.
what?
Young.
I would go straight for DMT or ayahuasca,
there you
at
go.
least. Yeah?
Those at least have a lot of religious significance, although pot does too in some religions. Um, so Anna, I would I would just encourage you, in from my perspective at least develop a way to
A
falsify.
method a methodology.
Not necessarily a full blown methodology, but just some way you can say this is not true.
Guys, but you're saying that, but you know it's not possible given what we're discussing.
No,
We're
it is. It is.
discussing, no, it isn't. We're discussing transcendental stuff that have been debated for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yes, but you
Come
think it's
on.
possible. You think it's possible to communicate with that transcendental reality via your subconscious mind, and you think it's possible to reach into that
Well,
subconscious mind.
you know what? I think I mentioned it the other day. That Monroe guy back in the 70s, and so many people that talk about astral projection and allegedly being on some other dimension. Now, that might sound like crazy talk, but I actually think it's interesting. Who knows? I don't know.
The difference between you and me and some other people here is that I'm willing to be convinced either way. Like if evidence were presented to me that the
No,
supernatural exists.
you're outright denying that
Oh no,
possibility.
but
That's what you're
you
doing.
don't, Anna. You don't
I
know
didn't
me.
say I believe in it. What I'm saying is I am open
I am
to
open to it
believing.
too, but I'm waiting for the evidence. Like if you show me
Yeah, well, you
in
know
an
what, Alexis?
irrefutable.
I think you should grab a big lunch and a lawn chair, and it's
Well,
gonna be a long
I
wait.
was I
Go
was
get
in my own
go
spiritual
take some
journey.
ayahuasca.
I started as a Christian. I explored different religions. I also read and I studied and I wanted to believe, and I'm still waiting to be convinced. And I cannot say, "Oh, I will
Well,
never be
Alexis,
convinced." Oh, you muted yourself.
I keep doing that. I'm sorry.
Subconscious mind.
Um,
Yeah.
but if you're waiting to be convinced,
Mhm.
I don't think that's how it works. So
So why are you even engaging in this journey then, if you're not waiting to be convinced?
yeah, I'm not waiting to be. I'm just trying to do the best I can. I'm just
What's
not
the
sitting back
purpose?
and
What's the
waiting
purpose
for
of the
evidence
journey?
to hit me in the face,
What's
which
the
is what you're
purpose?
doing.
What is
I
the
think
purpose?
it's better than sitting back and waiting for evidence to hit me in the
Anna,
face.
what is the purpose of the
What?
journey?
The purpose of the journey? First of all, I'm a very curious person, and regardless the truth of all these theories I've been looking into, I find them interesting, and I'd rather look into that than just read like what is I know to be actual science. Now this could be, but I don't know. So I'd rather read into that than read some novel that someone came up with. You see,
I
but
How
that's
have a
about
me.
question for you, Anna.
What?
Do you think the following
Guys, by the
statement
way, I'm
is
sorry for my horrible hoarse voice. I'm recovering from a cold and I've been talking too much. Go ahead, Baker.
do you
I'm
think
sorry.
the following statement is sound? All truths are relative. Do you think this statement is sound?
I don't know. I think it's a trick question.
it's self-defeating?
It's a trick question, and I'm not going to fall for it.
Good,
Don't be defensive.
So
good.
so Anna, um,
What?
just out of curiosity, what have you investigated so far in your journey?
Well, I've tried, time isn't limitless, sadly. So I've tried to sort of get the gist of different religions and what they defend and what they believe in, and trying to make sense of that. And it's not easy, of course,
Sure.
but it's been interesting. And again, I can't say I believe this is true and this is false, but I've
Sure.
just been trying to understand things.
I'm
The operative word being trying.
sure.
Okay.
So in your search,
hmm
are there any other than Roman Catholicism or some other version of Christianity, which you were already familiar with? Have
hmm
there been any other religions that you've looked at and said, and in your investigation said, okay, this part of this religion is true?
What do you think about pastafarianism?
I don't know much about that, Baker.
The flying spaghetti monster? Never heard
Oh,
of
I
him?
don't know. No, I don't
Oh,
know much about that.
um,
So
you have to
Tell me,
add
Baker.
that to your search. It's
In a
important.
nutshell. In a nutshell.
The
it's a satirical religion. It's not real.
Okay.
Um.
That's
So
why I didn't look into it then. Okay.
So, but I would be interested if you've discovered anything that you say this feels true to me.
Okay, look, I didn't discover anything. Okay. And
No. Okay.
okay, so I will say that again, I'm just trying to be open to possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But could it be possible? Okay, so this is one way to look at it. I'm not saying it's the right way. Okay, that somehow, okay, there is a transcendental divine entity which actually encompasses everything, which according to some school of thought is the super consciousness.
So some kind of
And
pantheism, maybe.
no, I didn't want to go there. What I
Okay.
was trying to get at is, remember, we have our subconscious, our divine spark, but somehow that is part of this enveloping super consciousness or whatever it's called,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that is how we are allegedly connected somehow. So we're our own thing, we have our own soul, our own whatever, but yet we're somehow connected to all the rest. I don't know how.
Do you think?
Possibly.
Do you
Yeah.
think? Say, wombats also are connected in that way?
Okay, that's an interesting question because that begs the question, do animals have souls? And apparently according to some theories, they don't have souls like us, but they do have something.
what is a
That
soul?
that's another problem, right? What is a soul? For now, I guess all I can say is it is whatever continues to exist after your physical body dies.
Well,
So
the atoms of your body will continue to exist for as long as
Yes, but
you break.
I'm not referring to that.
You're talking about whatever consciously exists.
Exactly, or what
Okay.
consciously, whatever. And then we're gonna get into these things. Is it consciousness if you're not aware of it? Is blah blah blah. Um, but simply put, because then there's this thing: what's the difference between the soul and the spirit? And that's another big mess. But anyhow, the point is, so if there is this super consciousness, which we're all integrated in somehow, but we have the illusion that we're apart, there's that theory. But we do have this spark, which is said consciousness, allegedly. And then for whatever reason, we were made unaware of this belonging. Why? I don't know. And there are different explanations for that I'm trying to understand. So this super consciousness, or let's call it God, which we are all a part of, somehow needs to go through all this, through all these dynamics. So basically, according to one theory, we are indeed consciousness looking at itself through our eyes. It's
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds crazy, but anyway.
So
So what's the point of all that? Still, what's the point? So that's what is the point? Why? And that's the
When,
answer that for me
when you
is important.
say you're trying to understand, it
Yeah.
seems to me that you are following a methodology, even if you say you're not.
No,
You're,
I don't have a good
oh,
methodology. I'm
that's a
aware of
different
this.
statement, and I agree with that one. It's not a good one, but you do have a methodology. You are reading, hoping to understand, and I think the
Yeah,
word
but that's not a
understanding,
good methodology.
right? But understanding entails that there's some rational, logical thinking behind,
That's the
right?
thing. We can't avoid that, right? We can't avoid using
Well, some people can.
rationality, even when I think it's difficult to avoid using rationality when we're trying to understand transcendental things.
But
Well,
understanding it's you can't rob understanding from logical thinking and rational thinking. They come together. Understanding doesn't make sense the minute you eliminate reason and logic.
And
Because understanding makes sense.
herein lies the problem, because transcendental existence in itself is a concept that the rational mind probably shouldn't even want to accept.
So why are
right?
you trying to understand something that you yourself acknowledge is not understandable by nature?
Not understandable, but
Well,
let me see.
transcendental existence can be understood, as having its own transcendental rationality. But when you say transcendental, what do you mean?
It's something that's not material, that's not tangible. It's something that
So nothingness, is that what's transcendental?
I'm
Is
not talking about nothingness.
He means
I'm
outside
talking
of
about
time, space, matter. That's
Would-
what she means.
Ah, okay, yeah, okay.
would you say math is transcendental?
no.
No. Okay. I'm just curious.
I don't think so. I don't
okay.
think so.
Okay. So now one thing you mentioned, and that's what the last little bit we've been talking about is this super consciousness. Now, I would assume that you didn't get that from Roman Catholicism.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
We've been through that.
Yeah.
I'm the worst possible example
No,
of a Christian, okay?
I agree. I'm just confirming before I move on.
Worse in the sense, I do believe in God, like I said, but worse in the sense that if I talk about I'm not saying I believe it, but the possibility of reincarnation, which according to Christianity is like, it's basically blasphemy or heresy or
Oh
whatever.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Of course. So you didn't get that from Roman Catholicism. You say you also haven't
Of course
really.
not.
You're right. And you also say you haven't really gotten anything from other religions yet in your investigations. So where did that come from? Where did you get that kind of belief in?
But it's not belief. That's the thing. I've just been investigating different, call it schools of thought, religions, etc. And the Gnosticism thing I actually found rather interesting, even though it was also a bit scary, maybe. So I was like, oh yeah, so maybe there's reincarnation. That's lovely, right? We can mess up, and instead of going to hell, we come back and we live another life. And then Gnosticism comes and says, nah, you're here because there are these dark, energies, entities, whatever, that feed on your energy. And then basically Earth is a prison, and you actually get sort of bamboozled into coming back here to live another life, and so they can harvest you. It's like,
so
it sounds like crazy talk. Anyway.
Is that something that passes the truth test for you, or is it still in the?
Again, it's but here's the thing. Even if what the Gnostics said was true, it still doesn't detract from the possibility of getting back to God. So the thing is, how do you do that? You see, they don't say that you can't escape. All right. It's just, but how are you supposed to do that? Assuming that God exists, first of all, even if this is true, how could he allow it? How he could have allowed, the demiurge, the story, right? So according to the Gnostics, so God had like a series of minions, which were like demigods or whatever. And one of these demigods was named Sophia. Yeah, a woman, you can say that. Just like,
Sophia. That
Adam and
sounds-
Eve.
I thought that was a Greek name. Sorry.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
her name, it might be because of Soph has to do with knowledge or something, right? But
Uh,
anyway, but she was called Sophia, and she kind of did what, what Lucifer did, who was an angel. She sort of rebelled, and she had a kid named, there's a name for it, but he's known as the Demiurge. And this rogue kid, he's allegedly the guy that created Earth.
Hmm.
And he's allegedly the God that is spoken of in the Old Testament. You know how it doesn't make sense when you go and read the Old Testament, and there are all these crazy things that God told his people to do: go to this town and rape the women and kill children, and etc.
Yeah.
And the God in the New Bible seems to be different. So according to them, like, the God mentioned in the Old Testament is actually the Demiurge. Guys, I'm not saying all this is true, okay? For the record, I'm not trying to convince
No, I know.
anyone of
we don't.
absolutely anything. I'm
Don't
just
worry.
talking about all the stuff I've been reading into,
None of us
okay?
is worried
All
that
right.
you're going to convince us, but I still would like
No,
to get an answer to my question, which is
what question?
if you acknowledge that is a world that we cannot understand, it's a realm that we cannot understand, why are you trying to understand it?
Because apparently, and according to the Gnostics, through gnosis, aka knowledge, you can get somewhere,
So
okay?
then it is true that we can understand it then.
But not, I guess, easily, if that makes any sense. I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
it's difficult to understand, but it is understandable.
But I don't know how, but I'd like to believe there is some way. And it's not easy, certainly not easy. So I'm just taking baby steps here, okay? I'm just reading what's out there, trying,
Okay,
and then
so
I'll, yeah.
given that you have you accept that it is understandable but it's difficult, the following question is, what is the way through which you get to that understanding? Is it through feelings? Is it through logic and reason? Is it like, and that's why we emphasize this idea of the methodology. How do you think,
Oh, so what do you call it? Never
what's
mind.
the way to understand? So you agree that it is understandable, it is very difficult, but it is understandable. So my question is,
I haven't
how?
gotten there yet. So let's suppose that for me, I decide that Gnosticism makes sense. Then I'm going to have to read into a lot. I'm aware of this.
Hold on.
Okay?
When
What?
you say,
And understand a lot
when,
and figure out a lot of things.
when you say
If
it makes,
indeed, if indeed Gnosticism is the way to go.
okay, Anna, when you say it makes sense, you're implying the use of logic and reason.
Your point being?
Your point being, then you do rely on logic and reason to understand these
I
things.
think that in part we need to. We were just discussing that earlier. It's hard not to
No,
use your
the reason
rational mind.
I'm hard pressing on this point is because every
Yeah,
time
but see,
we point to
you're
a
sort of
contradiction.
you're sort of nitpicking at the meanings of words, etc.
Oh, it is
And
very important because every time
okay,
we
it's
point,
Stop
important for you.
nitpicking, Alexis.
well,
No, seriously.
every
And I
time,
know, because it's a contradiction even for me, but I don't see any other way to go about it.
no,
You see, of
I just,
course I'm using my brain and, to the best of my abilities, my rationality, even though I know I'm researching something that's transcendent. That in itself is a contradiction, but
it
I'm
is a
fine with it. So don't worry about me. I'm fine. I won't
contradiction.
I won't go crazy or anything. But the thing is, suppose I decide that Gnosticism is the way to go. I do find it interesting in the sense that basically what they said was that was actually uh, Jesus Christ's mission, and it was just sort of misinterpreted, intentionally or not, later on. So actually, he wanted to let us know, and when he said that there is no way to the Father except through me, he might not have been referring to that in the way that, for example, he might not. I'm not saying it's the case, and I realize, again, I'm a very bad example of a Christian. He could have been actually referring to whatever you want to call it, Christ consciousness, the divine spark, that is what we need to access, you see, to get to God. And I actually think that's a very, from my point of view, it's a very interesting interpretation of the message of Jesus Christ. So
Mm, mm.
anyway,
Amen. Amen.
shut up.
I do agree that the Gnostic version is a very interesting interpretation of the Christian Bible.
So-
I'm not really sure actually if it's interesting because it's interesting in and of itself, or if it's interesting because it's not what I was raised with also. But
Yeah.
I do find it interesting.
Oh, it is. It is interesting, and so is Greek mythology, and so is Nordic.
Okay,
mythology.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
care what you say. You know what, Alexis, because you're an agnostic. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I am legit curious. Phantomix.
Yes.
What do you believe in or not?
I would say I'm a lacktheist.
A what?
I lack any beliefs
Oh, okay.
in anything supernatural.
Okay. All right.
What
I
is
don't
the
care what you. Well, I don't care what you say either. I'm.
That's fine.
Phantom? How would you differentiate?
I'm
because
kidding.
People have different definitions of atheism. So how do you differentiate the
Oh
term
my
huge
gosh.
with atheism?
So to me, and this is just my personal way of looking at it. And I know a lot of atheists, and I used to be like this. I used to say atheism is a lack of belief or
Mhm.
the belief in the non-existence of God. And Gnostic means you do believe there's no God, and agnostic means you don't believe, or that you just lack the belief. And what I thought through was, well, then you have this category that can't really be specified in that way, where you believe there's no God, but you don't claim it's not that knowledge. So an agnostic atheist, to me, I would say, is someone who says there's no God, but doesn't claim to know that there's no God. And an agnostic atheist is someone who believes there's no God and claims there's no God. And so that's why I've started using the term lacktheist, is because I just lack the belief.
Okay. And earlier, I think you said Gnostic when you meant atheist, right? Earlier. Never mind. Never mind.
No, Gnostic and agnostic in when you're talking about theism is a knowledge claim. It's not Gnosticism like what you're talking about.
Okay.
And you can be an agnostic and Gnostic theist as well. You can believe there is a God but not claim that you know there's a God, or you can believe there's a God and claim that you're a God, or that there is a God. And I would say, like most theists are probably Gnostic theists. They claim to know that. But I've met some agnostic theists as well. But anyway, you asked that why I differentiate that. That's
Thank
my
you.
reason for
Thank you
differentiating
for
that.
answering.
Yeah.
Thank you for answering.
Anybody else have anything they want to talk about? We could give Anna a break.
Yeah, Alexis.
So apparently,
You just muted yourself, Anna.
Oh, sorry. I was listening to a message. I heard your answer. Thank you for your answer.
Yeah.
I was
Finally,
just saying very
Finally.
quickly. Sorry, Alexis, very quickly. Apparently, I'm the only one who believes in the possibility of fairy tales.
No. Near is
Same
near
here.
is
Thank you.
near
I
is
believe in God
superstitious as
too.
well.
We both believe in God. Yes.
Yeah.
We are safe.
And I'm
Oh
new
my
to this
gosh.
platform, so I don't know about any of these other people. This is
Well, the demographics here is, I think, the majority are Muslims,
mm-hmm. I've been running into a lot of Muslims.
and people from India, but I don't know about their religious affiliation, to be honest.
Sure.
Many of them are Muslims too, but I won't say all of them. The majority of them. Depending on the time you join, you're going to find different nationalities and a few trolls from time to time.
Sure. And I came through this from a guy named Phil Sober, and he's the one who introduced me to this, and I just thought, hey, I don't know any other languages. I'm probably not. I'm probably too old to learn one. I don't really have the motivation to because I don't ever. I don't plan on have any imminent plans to travel outside of the country. But since I am a native English speaker, I can help people learn
You
speak
certainly
English.
can, yeah.
And
And of
so
course, you know the de facto universal language, right?
I yeah, I am aware that that's probably the case. It's not something I
Yeah.
try to, I don't know, bring up unless someone else does.
If those creatures existed, how would you communicate with them? Imagine that that's all true, like that supernatural world.
Oh, we're back to it.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
actually,
the claim is that if you reach a certain state of consciousness, and apparently or allegedly, if you alter your brain state, you're able to do that. You might communicate with other beings.
I'm curious then.
Allegedly.
I'm curious then. So if you think altered brain states is kind of the way to access this, um, there's a number of ways of altering your brain state. You can try meditation. That does that.
I know binaural beats, and Monroe used, what was it? Hemisync. It was like he came up with it, and basically it was kind of like binaural beats in
Sure.
the sense that your left and right ear hear different frequencies,
Mhm.
and then your brain somehow attains just the same frequency in both hemispheres, and that allows to reach different levels or different states of conscious. There were even, you had level 10, very specific things, and people they claim, I have never experienced this, that indeed it happens. But the problem is, and this is the thing, so in these encounters, just like with the alleged out-of-body experiences, you might come across some not so nice things, right? So you have to be careful when you decide
I would pay to
to get,
experience something supernatural.
you have to be careful if you decide to get into that
I've
state,
tried. I would
So-
pay. Yeah.
So the other I mean there's all that, but there's also like you said DMT and ayahuasca. Have you what's why haven't you tried that as a way of accessing this part?
For I don't know, maybe for the same reason. I want I okay, I'm scared actually, because apparently with those experiences you can also encounter, because I've read, I've watched documentaries, and again, people can make up stuff. I know all this, but there have been some very weird stories that people tell where
Oh,
they
sure.
do encounter evil beings. Okay, so the same way I shouldn't have messed with the Ouija board, you know, I don't think I should be messing with that. I don't
I
know.
play the Ouija board many times.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened. Nothing.
So I do have
Well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Phantom.
so a follow up question on that. Let's say you did. Let's say you did go ahead and say, you know what, I'm just going to try it and see what happens, and then something did happen. Would you? Do you think you would end up attributing that to being able to access this thing, or would you say?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it could be just drug-induced hallucinations, right? I don't know.
Right.
It's complicated.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But allegedly, there are stories of people, allegedly, again, that have had out-of-body, and Alexis is going to jump in and say that's all been,
Don't
but
worry.
I don't know. I don't know about that, Alexis, where they, for example, they have this out-of-body experience, and they go to a place that they've actually never been, like in the real, right?
Mhm.
And mention details that would have otherwise been impossible. So I've watched interviews like this, but again, they could be making it up. You see, so
Right.
that's the problem. See, the information that we access, and I'm well aware that there's a lot of misinformation. So someone might tell me, so Anna, what's the point? Well, regardless, I find all of this very interesting, even considering that there might be a lot of misinformation. There might be a lot of people lying. I'm hoping that if I look into it enough, that maybe I'll sort of come to some sort of, I don't know, not conclusion per se, but somehow making more sense of certain things. I hope. We'll see.
Sure. What do you make
Yeah.
of near-death experiences?
Oh, those are very interesting. And again, it could be all about uh, chemical reactions in the brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I honestly don't know. There are scientists who have claimed to find, it's not what you asked, I'm aware, but there are scientists who have spoken of this and who witnessed so many um, near-death experience situations with their patients that they
Yeah.
also sort of um, became open to certain possibilities. I think that is
Yeah, but
somewhat relevant.
it's been tested in a few hospitals, and they put pictures on top of shelves that only could
Yeah,
be
but
seen above.
yes,
And every time they have those experiences, oh, they couldn't see the signs, they couldn't describe those things. So the problem is people claim to have experienced a lot of things, but every time they want to test it,
but you just prefer to
because
focus on the experiences that they say didn't work, and you think that the experiments that they
why
say
is it that
worked.
every
You
time,
you you would just say it's misinformation. That's
Anna, why
fine,
is it that
Alexis.
every time, like on the one hand, the
I don't
ghost,
know. I
on the
don't think
one
you've
hand,
done enough investigating to conclude
oh,
that all the experiments they did just didn't work.
but you even yourself talked about the CIA conducting experiments about
Yeah.
supernatural phenomena,
No, but
and
you're
they
saying it as a blanket statement that
no
none of that is valid. And
no.
I'm open to believing that there
I
might be
just wish I
some
could
validity.
listen. Why is it that every time those supernatural entities that have been interacting with us are going to be tested, they become shy, and somehow their powers disappear?
No, I don't know that that's been the case. You're saying
That's
it,
been the
not
case. I
me.
mean, show me
I don't.
any reputable or any
No, you're the one that
valid.
has to show it. You're the one making the statements.
Oh no, but you're the one who says that there's
No, you're.
supernatural entities out there.
Oh my gosh. You're the one making the statement that none of the claims are true, correct? I'm
Uh,
saying
no,
that I believe
the
that
claim is
possibly, I'm saying that I believe that maybe some of those stories are true. You're saying that they're all false.
no. I'm saying that there's no
Yeah?
evidence that there's true claims about these kind of experiences.
Whatever, Alexis, I give up.
So you don't believe in it anymore?
Yes,
I
let's go with that.
All right. Welcome to atheism.
no. You can stay in the agnosticism station first before you get there.
Well, you could have said, Anna, you can stay in La La Land.
Pretty much. Yeah. Okay.
Do you think do you think that if they prove that aliens exist, I mean, yeah, it sounds funny, but in US they keep telling stories like this, uh, like this plane pilot saw, aliens, and he has some evidence, and he had access, and even recently they, published some interviews with a guy who had access to that information, and they say that the government is hiding, there are like aliens remains, so they found some aircrafts which are not, from the Earth, and there were some remains of, non-human nature. So allegedly pilots.
Uh,
So if that's true, I mean, does it mean that all this, like all these supernatural stuff, might also be true? Like,
Oh, not at all. You're confusing aliens with supernatural entities. They're completely different. Aliens, by definition, are extraterrestrial life. They're still within
Yeah,
the physical.
but aliens have souls too. And there's like
Oh
this
my God,
all-encompassing theory.
Christ!
There's this all-encompassing theory
No, what I'm
that possibly, yes, other civilizations
no,
exist. I mean, extraterrestrial ones, and they're all part of the same super consciousness.
okay, yeah, but that's more
Mm-hmm.
speculation. But what I'm trying to tell the amateur
Oh my
is,
goodness.
even if you were to show that aliens are real, and by the way, I believe they are, given the vastness of the universe and so on,
mhm.
even if you show they're real and the evidence for them turns out to be true, it doesn't say anything about the supernatural world, reality. It's different.
it it
No, no
might.
one said it did. No one said it
Yeah.
did. But if they do indeed exist, that just means that this all-encompassing super consciousness, God. Um, we could call it universal intelligence, whatever encompasses all that.
You want to sneak God into everything. It's just
The most
No,
See what I did there?
so the most credible information I've heard of about aliens is the nodules that they found on Mars recently, like a couple months ago, and that's just like alien bacteria at best.
oh yeah, sure. I think it's possible. I'm actually very open to it. I mean, I think if they have evidence for it,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
not?
I'm still waiting on the evidence, but that seems to be the most credible. Like it kind of tips it in the direction of there was at least at some point life on Mars, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think the controversy is not so much about is there life, but it's is there intelligent life
Right.
in
Yeah. And I couldn't speak to that. I don't know. Couldn't speak to that at all.
yeah, but can you assume if there's, let's say, highly advanced, intelligent life outside Earth, and there are some, creatures, and they can travel to our planet, they have such technologies to just to become invisible, for example, and things that we call ghosts, they are in fact aliens. We just don't see them, and
no, but that's
It,
different. That,
you'd have to like. It's. I mean, everything's possible because not. There's things that. There's things we don't know all of physics. We know there's gaps in our knowledge of physics, but our understanding of physics right now is it really wouldn't be possible for them to be turning invisible, or even to travel here. Really, like there would have to be some pretty major. We would have to be pretty wrong about physics for that to be the case.
yeah, but the fact itself that they, let's say, let's assume that those reports that aliens, they crashed somewhere, and United States CIA got access to that place. They classified all the information. So that only fact means that they have more advanced, physics.
Area
So,
21? Yeah,
51.
I
well,
think it's called
It's
51.
50.
Sorry.
51.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And I mean, if they can travel through space with incredible speed, it also would mean that they can turn invisibles, for example. Why not? Maybe I'm just assuming. So if you can exceed the light of speed, the speed of light, why can't you just turn invisible? And so
Given that the paradigm of science is ever evolving, you just never know.
Right. I mean that's what I said. We could be wrong, but our understanding of physics right now says it's not possible for them to travel here. Well, it's not feasible. It's possible. It's not feasible for them to travel here, and it's certainly not possible for them to turn invisible because the only way that could work is they would not be able to see anything for them to be invisible, and like that you couldn't like navigate if you couldn't see anything.
Well, how about they're shapeshifters? So they can
Or
make
maybe we were the
themselves
alien.
they can make themselves look like us and walk amongst us.
Well,
Mm.
I mean,
yeah, there are some aliens here on FIFA Talk, definitely.
I do agree that our current understanding of physics says that anything or nothing that it's made out of matter can travel. Nothing that has mass can travel faster than light. That's true. But the thing about invisible, like, I think even there's some military technology where people can be at least 98% invisible. Why is it that you say that you wouldn't
There's
be able
some sort of coat. There's some sort of
Yes.
special coat.
well,
Yes.
the reason I
That's-
say that is because for you to be invisible, the light beams that we use for vision have to be traveling around you and not hitting you. And
Exactly.
if they're not hitting you, you can't use them to detect anything. Because they're also not hitting your eyeballs.
Um,
So what if they deflect light? So in that case, they would be invisible. So light tries to hit them, but it's being deflected and it goes around them. So we don't see them. They exist. We hear the noise somewhere in
Like
the house.
they spend their time playing ping pong with.
I mean, they wouldn't be able to see anything outside of their cloak, unless there's light coming from outside their cloak to inside the cloak.
well,
At least
to
that's
be
my understanding.
to be in, because I can imagine a lot of different solutions for that. For example, like what if the light does hit the eyes of the alien, but this has a system that replicates the same light of, let's say, from behind it, it continues its course. So I did get information, and I'm reproducing that, copying that information, and projecting it in the same direction. The other thing is, you don't have to be completely invisible. You have to be invisible for us. Like maybe they can see, and again, I'm playing in this highly speculative hypothetical scenario. They could maybe see lower or higher frequencies of light compared to us.
No,
We have a very limited
that's true.
range. I actually wish the aliens. This is interesting, and I mean, do you guys think that when we first encounter any kind of non-human intelligence, will it be aliens or will it be AI that just became as intelligent as we are and even beyond? I think it's more likely to be a computer.
I think it'll be whales, because we've already encountered them. Whales or elephants.
Whales, okay, they're very smart. Yeah.
I mean, they're already
have-
intelligent, so I think
They
I
have
think
their
we
own
have.
language with morphemes and everything. In fact, this lady scientist, she documented a conversation between two dolphins.
She was
They
gossiping.
analyze. She was eavesdropping, yeah.
Eavesdropping, yeah.
And the one of the funny aspects of it was that the dolphins were very they didn't interrupt each other, unlike me. anyway, so one dolphin wouldn't speak until the other had finished, and what was interesting was she and her team were somehow able to decipher the messages. And what was interesting was, so all animals on earth communicate somehow, but typically it's because about, oh, run away, there's danger, oh, let's go there, there's
Yeah,
food,
basic
things like that,
instructions,
right?
yeah.
In their own way, even ants through pheromones, blah blah blah. But these dolphins were just chatting. Okay, they weren't taught, so the messages had nothing to do with with survival, let's go and get food, or there's danger and whatnot. And she even came up with this sort of Rosetta Stone for whales and dolphins. This is the thing. And they actually apparently also not only attempted to communicate with some of these mammals, but also were able to teach them words. It was something like that. I found it very interesting, actually. And the device, if you guys Google it, it's actually called Chat. Interestingly, it's cetacean something something something. I can't remember the rest, but the letters are CHAT. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would argue. I think, I mean, it's not human level intelligence maybe, but it's certainly sentience, that we've already encountered that, and we're just too chauvinistic to recognize it.
And the social part of their, oh, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. Again, I have to learn from the dolphins. Please continue.
And I think we would not be able to do that with aliens if they came here, because they would obviously have technology.
Yeah, I was just going to add that they did detect, and this was this neuroscience has studied this in whales, and I think dolphins as well. The part of the brain that's responsible for, I guess, social interaction and maybe even empathy toward other members of the same species. Apparently, it's bigger than in humans. I found that interesting, and they are very unified, whales particularly. And then I watched this documentary where this one guy, this big burly dude with a beard. He was crying, and he was recalling how when they caught the baby whales, the mothers would like chase the boat for the longest of times, and they would be like wailing, and you could sense the pain, the anguish. It was
Hmm.
quite interesting. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of animals that are sentient to some extent, right? It is like a spectrum,
Oh yeah,
right? To a different degree.
it would almost have to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's more intense in whales, dolphins, also even
Dolphins.
elephants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Elephants as well,
elephants
actually.
and corvids are very intelligent as well.
Yes, super smart. Them them blackbirds. Very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You can also argue which creature is more intelligent, a virus, which always evolves and has also very sophisticated behavior, or just a human
It
like.
does, even though it's such a microscopic microorganism. It is very intelligent in the way it has
but
adapted.
I think
Even
it's
mold. Did you guys read? I'm sorry, I'll be quick. Mold. I
you're
find that fascinating. So I think it was in Japan. They actually, because mold somehow adapts to its environment, and there was like this maze or something, and the mold evolved based on the maze in order to find food. But it evolved and in very intelligent ways, to the point that I think the metropolitan system in Japan was inspired in that. And we're talking about mold, which is
Hmm.
so it also shows how all these teeny tiny microorganisms work together. I find that pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
hearing something about that. It's been a while.
What?
Yeah.
I said I remember hearing
Oh,
something about the mold thing, but it's been
Yeah.
a few years since I heard about that.
It's
yeah,
quite
but I think
interesting. Yeah, it's not new. It's quite interesting though.
to call that intelligence, it's I don't know. I mean, you could argue they're
Well, it's
powerful.
fascinating at
You could
least.
argue they have really uh, effective survival instincts, but I think intelligence,
Yeah,
it's a little different.
yeah. I think the main takeaway that I took, as I recall from seeing it a while back, the mold thing was what the mold did was it just spread out all throughout the maze, but then when it found the food source, the branches died off and it optimized the route to the food source. So like that's not quite intelligence in my opinion, but it is optimization.
I heard about a wolf that was fishing with a net recently.
Oh
I
wow.
don't, but the headlines sometimes are a little misleading because the I pictured it like throwing the net and dragging it. The net was already there, and yeah, it started kind of like pulling it out and he ate the bait.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
there was,
maybe.
yeah, it's
I
still
think it's
intelligent, but
I
Well,
think with octopuses they did detect that. They're particularly
I know the
intelligent
yeah.
because they would use
crows do that.
shells. They would use like these ginormous shells very purposefully, and that is definitely when they have these metrics. It's like if an animal can look into a mirror and realize that what's in the mirror is him or her, whatever, things like that. And this is also one of the metrics, being able to plan and use certain tools a certain way. So apparently they attributed that to the octopus, and it is extremely intelligent.
I saw something with crows that they
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
take bread that was given to them, but instead of eating it, they would use it to fish.
Hmm.
Uh, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
And
one.
there is another video on YouTube, somewhere in the zoo, maybe in Germany, and there was an eagle, and that eagle was kept inside the cage, and that eagle had some treat. Maybe it was bread or something yummy, and there was another animal, another big bird like swan, something like that, outside that cage. And the eagle knew that that bird likes that treat, so he kind of, he threw that treat inside his cage, and that big bird just put its, long neck into the cage, and the eagle grabbed that,
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
wow.
yeah. So he used that treat as a bait.
This bait, yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
By the way, speaking of, supernatural, I don't
Oh
know,
no.
just a tiny, tiny thing. And octopuses all together. So back in 2010, when there was a World Cup in South Africa, and so there was an octopus in Germany, and football fans and the reporters, out of fun, they started, just
Paul?
Paulus.
Yeah.
So they started putting boxes with the flags of countries that were going to play each other in that World Cup. So the Octopus had to choose which team is going to win, Paulus. And yeah, so the Octopus got 8 matches, absolutely correct. So, and the mathematicians, they were trying to, calculate the possibility, theoretical, probability of that. It was like 1 out of 10,000.
Oh no, that's just wrong, because what they're not taking into account is that there wasn't just one single animal trying to guess the results. There were millions or thousands of animals around the world, but this is a survivalship bias example. They only paid attention to the one that got it all right, but there's many of them that got it all wrong.
So what I hear you saying is there were 10,000 animals doing it.
Oh, there were a lot of animals doing it. I
Yeah.
actually heard about a lot of them, but
Yeah.
Paul became famous because he was the one that got all of the results right
Okay.
to the end, 8 matches in a row.
So
So-
it's kind of like the whole monkeys stopping on typewriter and putting out the works of Shakespeare. If one of them did it, like you have a million of them doing it, but the one that did it is the famous one.
Exactly, it's a survivalship bias in play. So yeah, they do that every day, and the saddest part is that they actually, I think they killed him and cooked him.
Oh
So-
well, they some fans
They didn't see that coming, huh?
well, they promised, they threatened that octopus. I mean, fans of teams which lost in the games, they promised to cook. But I think that he died just naturally. And it's, yeah, a lot of animals, they were probably doing the same thing, but they started to do that actually after him. So that octopus was the first animal, and people think that octopuses are the most, intelligent animals, and that's why that got so much attention. And so all the reporters were, able to record the video before the match, so there was no way to cheat. And so
There was a famous case of a fortune teller from Brazil. It was very interesting because the guy had videos where he would say which team was going to win, just like this octopus. And he was also right about all the matches. And if you go to his YouTube channel, the videos have the date. I mean, every time he made a prediction, it was
Mhm.
before the match, right? That's impressive, right? Like, what happened here? Turns out the guy was secretly uploading videos with different results, but they were private.
Mm.
So they would have the date prior to the match,
Mhm.
but they were private and nobody could see them. It was only when the match ended that he would release the video and people would see the date was before the match. And he fooled a lot of people into thinking that he could see the future, and he made a lot of money. But yeah.
All right. I need to head to bed. Does anybody want to take over the room?
No, I need to head to bed too, because where I live, it's past 2 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah, and the ghosts
that's
wake
why
up
I'm
at
muted.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I ain't scared of no ghost.
You can give
Yeah.
it to Steve. He's
Who? Oh, Steve. Okay.
Well, it's 2 o'clock. Oh, maybe Steve might want it if he wants to stay up. I'm just saying that it's also 2 o'clock in the morning where Steve is, because
Oh,
Portugal
Yes.
and the UK are in the same time zone. But of course, Steve might want it still.
whoa! What's happening to your
Yeah.
voice, Nier has more testosterone apparently.
Steve, are you okay taking over the room?
I don't mind. I'll be here for a little bit. I haven't contributed. I've just been listening.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed it.
Amused. It's been the
It was
usual
good.
result from 1 or 2 hours of talking, and we didn't get anywhere.
Sure.
No, I think we've learned things, right? Ed?
We've learned that Anna believes in fairy tales.
I learned that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Then-
say that.
We learned that Alex believes in aliens or AI.
It
You don't?
always surprises me the amount of effort, energy, and time that people spend on discussing these things or arguing about them, but
Oh, but it's
discussing these
interesting.
things and not getting anywhere. The end result is, yeah, well, we all still believe the same thing or don't believe
Yeah.
the same
I
thing.
think the idea is to like discuss and explore things and try to make sense of why we believe in something. So I think Phantom did a good job in
Yeah.
getting everyone together and trying to understand why we believe in something. So I think that's pretty profound. I don't think the idea is to get somewhere, but it's to really understand why do you believe in something you do.
That
Yeah.
It was
like-
it was nice to be in a group where it was all civil and respectful.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely, Steve. Definitely.
my
ahead,
original
Paul.
intention was to try to do some street epistemology. I got a little bit into it, but then, that gets out of hand when you get too many people, and that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that.
And to be honest, I actually enjoy, for example, having discussions, not arguments, with people that absolutely don't, for example, believe in God, and to say things to make me think. Not that I'll be convinced of this or of that, because again, I don't think it's easy to get answers. We've all realized this, but I actually prefer sometimes to have a discussion with someone who actually thinks whatever I'm saying is absolutely bonkers. You see,
Oh,
it's interesting to
this
listen
is
to
the
the other.
right crowd. And also, I
Yeah.
think what you said is true for a lot of different topics. Is the same for politics. It is the same for pretty much anything else people often discuss. Like, I don't think the expectation is to change each other's minds. I mean, this is a language exchange. A lot of people are here to practice. Also, in discussing these things, you get to learn about certain facts, about certain experiences that I might find interesting. A couple of things were mentioned that I didn't know, and now I know. So I wouldn't say it was completely fruitless, but yeah.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night. I will take my adieu.
Okay.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
Phantom.
sleep tight, Phantom.
Thank you, Phantom.
Bye.
Phantomix. Don't
thank-
let the bed bugs bite.
Don't let the
I
bed
will
bugs-
try.
If they do, bite them
Okay.
back.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Have a good one.
Night, Phantom.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say for